The ugly duckling. The farm slept under a blanket of fierce summer heat. Golden corn waved in the soft breeze and a few birds chirruped to themselves as they sat in the shade of the beech trees. Everything was quiet and peaceful, even the farmer was drowsing by the old tractor. But one animal was not sleeping. Far from it. Mother Duck was working very hard today because her eggs were due to hatch any minute. Soon fluffy little ducklings would crawl into the big wide world and take their first faltering steps in the warm grass. At last she heard hesitant taps inside the eggs. Louder and stronger they grew, and soon 4 little ducklings were looking up at her. Just as she was about to get out of the nest, she noticed that one egg hadn't hatched. "Oh, well," she sighed, "I will wait until this one hatches too." And she climbed back onto the egg, which was bigger than the others. The sun beat down on her as she sat on this last obstinate egg, and she could see the stream shimmering invitingly. "Oh, do hurry up," she thought. There were her friends from the farmyard, sporting in the cool water, the drops glistening on their feathers. Some hours later she was looking rather anxiously at the strange duckling that had emerged from the last egg. He was so big and clumsy, his down a strange mottled grey, that she wondered if all her patience had been worth it. The sun was still shining the next day. Mother Duck decided to take her brood down to the stream to teach them to swim. Into the water she went, giving a blissful sigh as the cool water soothed her hot feathers. "Quack," she said, "into the water, children." Plop, plop, plop. They went. For the first few seconds their feet beat the air and their beaks scraped the stream bed, but soon they were paddling expertly. The ugly grey duckling performed wonderfully. Anyway, thought the mother duck, no need to worry about him. He is quite as good as the others. After the swim, the mother duck waddled off to the farmyard to show her offspring to the other animals. Even the ducks make proud parents, you know. They all crowded round to see them, and clucked and cackled admiringly. But the big turkey elbowed her way to the front and frowned on the grey duckling disapprovingly. "This one is a bit funny, isn't he?" she said, bluntly. "Oh, no," replied the mother duck. "He may look queer, but he is just as sweet as the others." But, secretly, she was inclined to agree with the turkey. Because of his ugliness, the grey duckling found life very difficult on the farm. He was left out of all the games. Sometimes he even caught his mother, his own mother, looking at him with a puzzled expression on her face. Even his own brothers and sisters were unkind to him. At last, he could take no more. One dark night, when everyone was asleep, he crept out of the nest and waddled along the road to the marsh. Bang! Bang! The duckling awoke with a start. What was going on? Poking his head out of the reeds, he saw a long line of men, all with shotguns. Bang! Another shot and a wild duck fell out of the sky. It was a hunting party. All day, the little duckling lay hidden in the reeds, shaking with fright as the shots whistled over his head. What on earth made him pick this of all the places to live? Finally peace descended on the marsh once again. The hunters had gone home, taking with them all the ducks they had ruthlessly killed, and it was safe to come out. Taking a careful look around, the duckling sped through the marsh and into the nearby wood. He rested a bit, his little heart beating with fear. Deeper into the wood he went, until he was sure he would never be able to find his way out again. The sun was setting as he came upon a cottage in the clearing. He was tired and cold, and the soft light that shone through the window was so very enticing that he decided to seek shelter. The old woman who lived in the cottage was so moved at the sight of the little duckling that she let him in to share the fireplace with her chicken and cat. But the grey duckling could not find the happiness he was seeking. The two pets taunted him unmercifully. "Can you lay an egg?" asked the chicken. "No," replied the duckling. Sneered the haughty chicken, as if laying eggs was the only thing in the world. "Do you know how to purr?" leered the cat. "Afraid not," said the duckling, "but do I know how to swim and dive?" "How ridiculous," cackled the chicken, quite overcome at the thought of it. "What useless talents you have. Now, if you are prepared to learn how to purr and lay eggs, then we shall be happy to let you be our friend." The poor duckling knew he could never do either of these things, so he decided to move on. Living alone on rivers and ponds made him very unhappy, but he was so ugly that no animal would be his friend. All summer he practiced his swimming and diving, all by himself on the rivers and lakes. Summer faded and autumn came in, with its shrill winds and icy waters. Snow clouds threatened in the dark sky. One evening as the red sun net, a flock of large birds burst from some reeds near where the duckling was padding. He had never seen anything like them in his life. As their huge wings beat the air and their long necks stretched gracefully towards the setting sun, the duckling gazed in wonder at these lovely white birds. If only he could be like them. As the days progressed, the water on the lake became covered in ice, and the duckling had to swim hard to stop the water from freezing over completely. But gradually it became harder to hold back the ice, and his pool grew smaller and smaller until he only had enough room to turn round in. He would certainly have frozen to death if a nearby farmer had not come to his rescue just as his feet started to freeze to the water. The warmth of a fire soon thawed him out, and after a rub down from the farmer's wife he soon felt warm and comfortable. He stayed there all winter. The children of the farmer made him their pet and he enjoyed himself immensely, for the first time in his life. One day, he woke with a start. Something exciting was in the air. He felt stronger, he could feel his blood pumping with a fierce beat and he knew he could fly for miles if he tried. He just had to go. Spreading his wings, which were big and strong now, he launched himself into the spring air and soared through the sky. Seeing the lake below him, he dipped and settled on its calm waters. As he preened his feathers, 3 lovely swans came floating up to him. The duckling's heart ached at the sight of their beauty. Why couldn't he have born like that? Was it fair to have to go through life a horrible misfit? He waited for them to sneer at his ugliness as they drew near. But instead they seemed to be taking an interest in him. They circled, giving clucks of appreciation at what they saw. He felt quite shy at all this attention and he bowed his head in embarrassment. But, wait. Who was that beautiful creature staring back at him from the water? Somebody with a long neck of a swan, the same lovely white plumage and fine wings. Could it be? Yes, it was. It was his own reflection. He was a swan. A beautiful noble swan. Now there would be no more sneering at his ugly plumage and ungainly body. He was so happy he spun round and round in the water and flapped his large wings, sending up sprays of water which created a rainbow over him as the spring sun caught it. Soon the story about the new swan spread round the lake and all the animals came to see him. Sparrows perched on young spring buds and chirruped in amazement at his lovely snowy feathers. Wild ducks, who once had persecuted the ugly duckling, swam past in silent admiration and went back to look disapprovingly at their own stubby offspring. Geese honked greetings to him as they flew over in formation. But he did not boast about what had been given to him, his newfound beauty. He knew that pride was a foolish thing. But he cherished it to himself and it was made all the sweeter by the suffering he had endured. The end.